For plebs, by plebs, dropping the Bitcoin-only signal. PlebUnderground. Welcome everyone to the PlebUnderground.
Welcome back, everyone. It is the Pleb Underground. We dive into the Hopium, the Shitcoin Corner, and we start off with the numbers. Here we go. Walton, what is happening, my dude?
Hey, it's good to be back. This is Pleb Underground. We're looking at the numbers brought to us by TimeChainStats.com and Time, brought to us by TimeChainCal.com.
Ooh.
You know about this, Phil?
It's TimeChain Cal?
TimeChain Cal, yeah.
TimeChain Cal. Is that some new? Is that new project from Ant?
No, it's from TC this time.
TC. Oh, you know what? I had heard that he was working on something.
Some inspiration from Mempool. Some inspiration from. Oh, I've forgotten the third one now. The one where you have the blocks falling. Do you know what it's called?
I do not. I do not.
The guy who made it is going to kill me. I apologize.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's really good. Bitfeed. I think it's called Bitfeed.
All right, we'll have to check it out.
And there's like these different sized blocks falling. But yeah, TC made some cool little thing. TimeChain Cal. Check it out.
All right, very cool. And now we are going to dive right into the numbers. At the time of this recording, the block height is 764,702. The Bitcoin price, 16,562. The total public Lightning capacity, 5,096.94. Moscow time, 6036. And the chain rewrite days, 781. Walton, those are the numbers. And you know what? I actually have some Hopium to show during the numbers, but don't worry, that this isn't gonna crowd the Hopium section, the Hopium segment. Excuse me. All right, we got a tweet from fellow Bitcoiner Dylan Leclerc. Pack it up, everyone. Bitcoin is dead, and this is November 22nd, 2022, and this is from Glassnode, of course. Okay, and if we take a look at it, what is going on? What are we seeing? The red over here, these big red blotches going down. These are the price, the USD, the Kaka price, right? The fiat price. That is the USD price drawdown from the all-time high, and this is the logarithmic Bitcoin chart. Its price in USD. And as we can see, here we are.
Percentage drawdown, right, Phil?
Is it percentage drawdown?
Yeah. If you look on the left, it's like they've got two.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, it's percentage drawdown.
Drawdown. So you can see we're in is it the third or fourth deepest percentage?
Yeah, we're at the we're at the minus 75% range, Walton. We're at the bottom.
Okay. So I mean, I'm pretty fucking bullish. Like, I don't know about you. Like, I to me, it's kind of crazy that it's still up. You know, a handful X since 2 years ago.
We're sitting at 16. So this is what people when we need to.
I don't even know what
this is where we need to zoom out. Hold on. We're sitting at around 16K, and that is approximately 75% down from the all-time high. Right. And we're at 16K. So it's like all these people that are like, Bitcoin's dead. You know, I find it hilarious, and this happens every time.
Sats used to be like $100, right?
Yeah, dude.
Like how
for
much is $200 sats right now? It's like maybe what $100,
like $200,
$170, $200.
Yeah, for $200, you're getting like 1.2 million sats approximately.
Right, which is like. It's like well over 5,000 sats to the dollar. And I remember when we went below 2,000 sats to the dollar and didn't think we were coming back.
Dude, I still remember when we were sitting at 1999. I still remember these numbers. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I can't believe this. I'm like, we're going, it's going straight to zero.
And it's confusing.
Oh gosh, it was insane. Anyways, yeah, that's a lot of fun. Look, Glassnode, we take with a grain of salt. You know, take from it what you will. For me, I use it for Hopium, and it kind of helps me put things in perspective and zoom out. What are your thoughts on this, Walton, before we wrap up the numbers and move on?
stay solvent. Like deploy
Good advice.
your fiat into the exit, which is Bitcoin, in a way that you are comfortable with, that means that you don't take on additional risk. Some people like to spread it, just buy the same amount in fiat every day. Some people like to buy a specific amount of Bitcoin every day. Some people like to smash buy. I like to smash buy. It's really
Me
like
too.
like I don't know, it depends on like how often you get paid. Like, if are you self-employed? Do you have a variable income? Are you like, there's so many factors like that determine kind of how you should stack, or like maybe what's appropriate for you. You need to work that out, but you need to work out that you should be stacking regularly. I think at least weekly.
You know what? I think you bring up a good point, and I think that that's a bit of a point of contention. I know that we were going to move on from the numbers,
Oh,
but
it's
maybe
highly
we can
contentious,
maybe
right?
we can chat about this for a bit.
DCA, like,
So
calm
look,
down.
everybody, you got to remember, right? Everybody has their incentive, and everyone is going to tell you to buy Bitcoin for a different reason, right? Like, if you're a person who runs an exchange, obviously you want them to come and dump their Bitcoin or their USD or whatever their local currency is on your exchange, and you want them to do as much activity as possible so that you can reap as many fees. So that's one point of it. The other point of it is that, if you're somebody like, let's say like a Cash App or something like that, hey, that application absolutely wants you to buy Bitcoin through them. Like there's no reason why they don't, and they are going to frame their messaging in such a way, right? Like the same way that we are proponents of Bitcoin, we believe in Bitcoin, so we frame our messaging in that way, that we say, hey, look, Bitcoin is these amazing qualities. And I think that when you're a noob and you're coming to the space, it can get very confusing. And what you need to remember is no one knows how to live your life for you better than you. Okay? So you need to
And
do
also,
what's right for you.
No one can tell you what Bitcoin is other than you. Some people say
That's right.
Bitcoin is, and that's enough. Maybe. To me,
That's
you
beauty
need
on.
to learn more and more about Bitcoin, and you need to learn about what it can do for you. Like
It's not the same thing to the same people, to different people, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you need to think of it as a tool, and you need to learn how to use it, and be creative about thinking about how you could use it in the future.
Yeah, very well said. And on that note, we are going to dive on into the Shitcoin
Hopium.
Corner.
Up next, we have the Shitcoin Corner, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks. Here you see Phil modeling the honey badger with the secret compartment in which you can keep your FUD dice, or maybe a signing device. Honey badger. We also have the Hodlonaut helmet. 50% of the proceeds going to defendingbtc.com, the fight against evil. You can get 5% off all of the goodies at cryptocloaks.com or cryptocloaks.eu using the code Phil?
PlebUnderground.
PlebUnderground.
That's
So,
right,
Phil,
guys.
what's going on in the left curve corner this week?
Today in the Shitcoin Corner, we are going to take a look at Ethereum. That's right, our favorite culprit. And actually, we're going to be reusing a tweet that Walton covered last week, but we're going to dive into it a little bit more because it looks like there's a little bit more of a story.
Isn't the logo of Ethereum the same color as the drug in Breaking Bad?
Maybe. I don't know. They've had so many color variations. It used to be this gray, white, black, but then they have this ultra weird pastel colored one. Huh?
Phil, you're overthinking it. They're just both meth.
I mean, they're definitely both meth. And we're gonna pull them up. We're gonna show the logos so you guys could see the logos. Why not? Just so that everybody can get an idea of what we're talking about. Anyways. Let's move on. Let's dive into this. Here we go. All right. This is the tweet from that Walton covered last week.
Indeed, yeah.
Crypto crystal baller. A lot
No
of
idea.
nuance. No, a lot of nuance
Looks like
in
a
this
child,
one, man.
but yeah.
Yeah, he's got that typical avatar, huh? All right, here we go.
Kind of low testosterone shitcoin avatar.
It's a low T avatar. All right, here we go. Ethereum devs, leaders, and influencers told their followers that ETH staking withdrawals will be enabled 6 months after the merge. Then they moved the goalpost and it became 6 to 12 months. Then they said 2024. Now the Ethereum Foundation removes all time frames from their website. $33 billion is locked in the Beacon chain. I rant about this all the time. This is going to be the biggest rug pull
didn't
ever.
even lock his. Vitalik didn't even
well,
lock his. So apparently,
no.
so they're like Vitalik's like bouncing his around. It's like Richard Hart walking around with like the shopping bags. Like these guys parade around in front of these complete mugs. Yeah, like showing, oh look, I've got my exit liquidity.
It's for the peons to stake. So the peons can stake it. He still needs to dump the bags to keep the lights on. Anyways. So like we said, all right, that's the first piece of this.
I wonder if you have to like
Next.
eat a bunch of bugs to get your Ethereum unstaked.
At this point, there doesn't appear to be an answer to that. But I'm sure the World Economic Forum is going to be providing some guidance to the ETH Foundation through EIA. Anyways, let's continue here. This is a tweet from Tur de Meester. Ethereum wakes up to the value of running his own full node, only to realize that's no longer an option. It already wasn't an option. To wit, first centralized stakers began censoring transactions. Now MetaMask, the main ETH access provider, is recording IP and wallet addresses. Okay, so let's stop here for 1 second. You got $33 billion locked in a smart contract that they keep kicking the date out to the point that the date has been completely removed. Okay, so that shit stuck there. Then you've got MetaMask recording locations and IP addresses. All right, so we have two pieces to this puzzle now. Let's continue. This is starting to sound worse and worse. Let's dive into the nuance of this story a little bit. Consensus updates policy to collect the IP addresses from MetaMask, and this is from November 24th, 2022. MetaMask developer Consensus, which, by the way, was founded by the co-founder of Ethereum, Joe Lubin, just putting that out there for everyone, updated its privacy policy on November 24th.
Until he sold it to JPMORGAN.
Yes, of course, but he's still there. But yes, of course, right? JPMORGAN, Joe Lubin, Ethereum. Anyways, they're not all related. To start tracking MetaMask users' IP addresses and Ethereum addresses when they send a transaction. The update applies to users who use Infura as their RPC, the remote procedure call provider in MetaMask. Infura is an affiliate of Consensus and is set as the default RPC provider in all MetaMask wallets. The update also informs that if users change their RPCs from Infura to another provider, their data won't be collected by Consensus. Still, they will be subject to whatever information collection policy is performed by the RPC provider of their choice. The updated Consensus privacy policy states, however, if you're using your own Ethereum node or a third-party RPC provider with MetaMask, then neither Infura nor MetaMask will collect your IP address or Ethereum wallet address. Consensus' decision to collect user data came 3 days after the decentralized exchange Uniswap revealed it started collecting its users' on-chain data. The exchange pointed to its desire to make data-driven decisions that improve user experience as the main reason behind the decision. Okay, so let's back up here. Remote procedure call. We're going to make this very simple for people. Okay, essentially all that is, okay, think of it as a piece of software reaching out to another piece of software and requesting data. Now, there's different types of behavior that they can do. They can read data, they can write data, okay? So there's different things that can be done. In some cases, they can push data out. In other cases, they can pull data. Anyways, my point is that they're telling you to trust them, that they won't be recording your IP or your location if you use your own stuff, okay? You just have to trust them that they're not going to record it. We said a few names in there. We said Infura. We said MetaMask, right? So.
Infura is owned by Consensus.
Exactly. Okay. Infura is owned by Consensus. Infura is owned
Which
by
is now owned by JPMORGAN.
That's right. And who owns MetaMask? Consensus. Okay, Consensus right here, right over here. Blockchain software business focused on Ethereum-based infrastructure and tools. Consensus is the owner of MetaMask. So Walton. So who owns Consensus?
So JPMORGAN owns everything in Ethereum, all the infrastructure.
This is an Amazon hosts
Oh, sorry, yeah,
the majority of the nodes.
Amazon and JPMORGAN own the vast majority of infrastructure for Ethereum.
Guys,
Sounds decentralized.
If you are not seeing
There's lots of banks, right, Phil? They have lots of branches. Does that mean that it's decentralized? Is that what they think?
Well, yeah, that's what you do, right? It doesn't matter who owns all those branches, Walton. As long as there's several of those branches, it's decentralization. There just needs to be several. Anyway, they shouldn't be independent. They just need to be numerous. But look, the point is,
hey, at least Vitalik can still sell his Ethereum because it's not staked, right? Like that's good.
Well, look, again, like I said, the lights have to look, Walton. The lights have to be kept on. But my point is, right? My point is this: if you can't figure it out already, Ethereum and everything that spawns from this shitcoin circus casino is simply legacy money. They are simply, this is legacy money's rug pull.
A thought. You know how Vitalik's on videos saying, oh, he didn't short with Eric Weinstein, he didn't short the top, but he did convince the Ethereum Foundation to sell a bunch at the top back at the last cycle. And the reason shitcoin cycles somewhat mirror Bitcoin ones is because they're all just parasites. They're like skateboarders skitching off a vehicle that actually has a driving force, i.e. Bitcoin. So he sold a bunch, and he famously said he talked of extending the runway. Now, I actually, despite him arguing that Ethereum doesn't use real physics, or somehow they've like mastered physics, or what, like they're doing something that with magic or Pokemon or something, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, the point was this phrase extending the runway, I actually think references the kind of crime of maybe like the cartel. So if you want to fly a plane that is heavier, it can take longer to get up to speed, and hence you need a longer runway. And so if you're filling up your private plane with a bunch of cash from your victims, and you want to really get a lot of cash in there, then you need a long runway such that then you have a lot of space to accelerate your heavy plane full of your victims' money to take off to never be seen again.
I'm going to suggest that it's not a plane, it's a Led Zeppelin. That's what I'm going to suggest. Ethereum is
a Charizard, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I'm sorry?
I said it's probably a Charizard or something like that, right?
Oh God. Anyways, look, I think I saw Corey Clipston say this, referring to them as dinos, right? Decentralized in name only. And that's exactly what this garbage is. But anyways, look, this is the point. We are going to be covering the further centralization of Ethereum as it continues to, I believe, implode. I know that people think that, you've got the shitcoiners that think that, oh my gosh, development, Bitcoiners, you're also prehistoric and you don't understand. I'm going to suggest this is not development. I'm going to suggest, to Walton's point, all this is extending the runway, and we are just waiting for the most epic rug pull in shitcoin history. I think FTX was a drop in the bucket compared to what Beacon Chain is going to do. I don't hear anything from it anymore. Before, all I was hearing was, yeah, Beacon Chain, they're all excited. Now that they've all moved to proof of stake and they can't move a thing, all you hear is crickets. Yeah, good luck with that. Anyways, any final thoughts before we wrap up the Shitcoin Corner, Walton?
Yeah, fuck shitcoins.
That's right. Fuck shitcoins. The Hopium. The Hopium is brought to you by Represent Clothing. Check them out, representltd.com. They've got awesome quality stuff, very nice threads. I am wearing the Bitcoin hoodie. I should change and wear a different hoodie, but you can clearly see very nice graphics, very nice quality. Get a 10% off coupon, everything in the store with pleb-underground.
Okay, so for this week on Hopium, I've got I mean, it's not a news story, it is a news story. Okay, so for this week on Hopium, we have a story that maybe you can see as a negative story, but I think it is such a negative story that actually maybe it can serve as a wake-up call. This time, maybe not to some normies, but maybe also to some shitcoiners. And when I'm saying shitcoiners this time, I mean the the victims, the people who have high time preference, who are getting gaslit by fake research that's just marketing materials. Those kind of shitcoiners. Somehow. I mean, I still don't understand how can you be fat if you're taking uppers for starters? But like how Sam Bankman-Fried somehow is still speaking at the New York Times summit in New York with Zelensky, who he laundered money for, Zuckerberg. And Janet Yellen, the Fed lady.
I just want to point out CNN is there too. Van Jones,
of course,
from CNN.
Like,
so, that should tell you everything.
I'm trying. Well, I have a theory. And I don't know. Again, you're like, we're not a political show.
No.
But like this, there's a lot of overlap between various powerful people, and what it seems is that the Democrats are essentially trying to pull all the strings they can in the media with all of their friends to essentially captivate the attention of normies for sufficient amount of time to essentially push a certain narrative, and that is one that Sam Bankman-Fried was an altruist trying to do good, who not only was donating money to lots of good causes, he was also helping the pandemic, and he's helping Ukraine. But I think actually he's laundering money for political elites in the Ukraine, specifically for those in and behind the Democrat Party. And this is a story that they are trying to bury with the altruism. Yeah, so once again, guys, we're not a political show. We don't care about red or blue. To us, it's all the same. Bitcoin is the only decision that you really can make if you want to make a meaningful change. At least that's my view. But I from my view, it seems that the Democratic Party, which Sam has been a major donor to, seem to be pulling all the strings they can in the media. Of course, their best friends at the New York Times, who are running an event in New York next week that Sam is still speaking at. And I think what's happening here is that Democratic elites are essentially burying, I think, a much larger scandal with a kind of minor scandal, right? Of letting this altruistic young man who was trying to do so much good in the world, but made some mistakes, and lost billions of dollars of people's money that he was stealing and gambling with. but you know, he's altruistic. He had good intentions. Of course, that's what matters in the woke world of today. He had good intentions. Now, Sam, he's speaking at this conference, and we're going to focus on how good Sam is, not on the millions of dollars that he laundered through Ukraine for the Democratic Party and other political elites in the United States of America.
I just want to point out that, and this quote obviously comes from somebody way smarter than me. The world wasn't built on good intentions. So going back to what you said about us, I just, we have to reiterate that multiple times, because people, for whatever reason, take political stances extremely personally. They it's like they internalize it. It becomes part of who they are. And when you attack my political party or the party that I believe in, you're attacking me and who I am and all that. It's like, no, this is all bullshit. Okay. This is exactly what a system like this wants you to feel. Okay. So that you take personal responsibility for complete illusions. Okay. But my point is that, look, that speaker lineup is cringe AF. Okay, Janet Yellen. I mean, she needs to get paid more to tell everybody it's some total bullshit, right? From reading the tea leaves. I mean, this is pathetic. And then you've got Mike Pence over there, which, by the way, Mike Pence, right? He was the VP on the Republican side. So it's not about. Sorry.
Zuckerberg, who has an audience
the lizard
of
people,
billions, doesn't need to be kind of platforming a guy who laundered or stole billions.
Let's see, this goes back to your point about the altruism, right? Like, he had such good intentions, I really wanted to do amazing things. So you know what? I'm pretty sure that there's so many other people out there in the world that also wanted to do amazing things and just didn't. And they're not getting off, and their narrative isn't getting framed the way SBF's is, right? Think of what just happened. Right? Think of what just happened and look at the way. How are they still hosting him? How is the New York Times still hosting him? To your point. I mean, this is absolutely disgusting, and there should be massive outrage. I'm totally shocked. Right. And then what? And look, CNN is good. Exactly.
Hopium, because outrage can wake people up. Maybe, or at least get them to look a little bit into a little bit more detail about things. Maybe they self-custody some of their assets. Maybe they get rid of some of their shitty assets.
And the fact that CNN is there, to me also, again, is validation, right? Because, of course, since Van Jones is a speaker, they're going to be covering this on CNN. So you get all those eyeballs as well. And here we go. Now we're platforming, again, exposing more people, right? More people that, let's be honest, the majority of people overworked, not enough money, tons of problems, all kinds of different, moving parts to life. And, and you're essentially not able to make a real informed decision as to whether or not you're listening to a scammer. And these are the mainstream media. This is the corporate media outlets giving them a platform to sit there and spread this nonsensical poison. Don't get me wrong. We're supposed to say that we're shocked, right? But we're not shocked. Are we really surprised? We're not surprised. We're just disappointed. Yep.
It's all about controlling the narrative, right? Like I'm sure some of you will have seen things like House of Cards or I don't know, various political shows, and there is a, to quote Shakespeare, the world is but a stage, and all the actors merely players, right? People are playing different roles, and some of it is on show, and some of it is very much on a stage and being presented in a certain way. I mean, I think actually it's a kind of a mild conspiracy theory to think Sam is at minimum doing money laundering for political elites. There's chatter. Maybe actually he's the new Epstein. Like, I don't know. Like,
So look, this is so you know what? Because as you're explaining this, I'm thinking about this. What they're doing is, or at least to me, what the corporate-owned media is doing is allowing this behavior to be normalized. And take a look at what happened in 2008, 2009, right? So look, before they were able to print all kinds of money to bail out the banks, there were other situations that happened before that that were precursors to that behavior being excused. Okay? So if you think about it, 1971, the US was taken off the gold standard officially, right? So that created a floating value. So all of a sudden, oh, well, I mean, it's not really tethered to gold anymore. And the country is having a big problem. We do need to bail out those banks. Oh, well, it's just this one time. It's this one time. We're going to fix it one time. And then all of a sudden, well, now we're fixing it 2 times. Then all of a sudden we have the virus that cannot be named. And oh my gosh, the printer's broken. It just won't stop printing. But it's just this time now. We need this now. Okay? It's the same thing with SBF. It's the exact same shit, Walton. Right? Like, this guy, it's okay, right? Because he learned his lesson. It was just this one time. So the next time around, when the way bigger blow up happens, it's okay. I mean, look, we know how to fix this. It's just this one time. It's never just this one time, ever. Not once. It's always more than once. And we're living proof. We're living proof it's more than once, right? In 2017, we saw the ICOs blow up, right? Then we watched, in the last cycle, we watched NFTs blow up. We watched DeFi blow up. We're now watching exchanges blow up. It's not only once. They're going to keep coming up with ways to steal our Bitcoin as long as we're naive.
Phil, I suffer from a habit of interrupting people. It's like high functioning autism sometimes is like a super articulate Tourette's. And I really have an affinity for puns. And there was something that you said in the middle of there that I really had to literally hold my face to stop myself from talking. You said at some point that it stopped being tethered to gold. And oh man, you put something in my head, which was, of course, Max Kaiser and his tether gold. Now, he did some what I thought was a rather good video on some mainstream media, right, talking about how El Salvador, which I think is doing some good, with Bitcoin, has been turning away these scammers, turned away Brock Pierce, who I think weirdly looks a bit too like David Spade, but that's another story. And who else? Like Charles Hoskins and all. Like, they were turning away the scammers. But what about this tether gold? Like, what is this bullshit? Like, and maybe now they're doing volcano bond. Are they? I don't know. Like, Magoo and I, we like, this has been a year, right? Like, a lot of people have called out a lot of this bullshit. And why does it get a pass? Why does Max Kaiser get a pass on Tether Gold? Like, why are some Bitcoiners seemingly able to kind of do various bits of shitcoining in public that they seem to kind of get let off for? I don't know.
Some Bitcoiners get a pass. To your point, right? It seems as though some Bitcoiners get a pass. I personally, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I appreciate Max Kaiser's.
Right?
Sorry?
Like Lamar.
Does he get a pass though? Not from actual Bitcoiners.
He gets book, then you can shill your sons like Solana NFTs. I don't know.
I know a lot of plebs who didn't give him a pass, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. Breedlove did not get a pass from plebs.
The speaker circuit.
The influencers are different, man.
Right? No, but it's funny, right?
It's different.
People, some conferences say they're the conference for plebs, but then they platform some of these shitcoiners. It's interesting.
You don't make money. You don't make money creating enemies. That's all I'm gonna say. That's like, when you get to a certain level, at some point, it's more about the circle jerk than it is about the quality and the authenticity of your message. But again, to each their own, right? Nobody knows how to live your life better for you than you do. Anyways.
Yeah, just one more story.
Okay. Yeah, because we also we have a big update today.
Of course, a very 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 big update. But
first, more Hopium. We need more
this
Hopium.
This is a story that probably people wouldn't even see as Hopium. Might just kind of glaze over and not really pay attention to. Now, this is, I think, a fucking huge development. What this is an additional tool in the fight against centralized governance enabling censorship, right? So another bow in Bitcoin's another arrow in Bitcoin's bow of censorship resistant technology. So Ben the Carman, who many of you know, who you know, one of the inventors of Taproot, made something pretty cool. He's made an entire Lightning node. So we've had this for a while. We've had Lightning wallets for a while that are based in browsers, right? In a web browser, in a mobile browser. Like we use lightningpoker.com. Was a good little Lightning website where you can just, you know, you literally generate a QR code and pay that invoice, and you've got sats to sit down and play with for poker. Like, you know, the accessibility of browser based Lightning wallets, I think is phenomenal for kind of things like internet gaming. But now Ben has created a Lightning node running inside a phone browser. Now, I think this is huge because most normies do almost everything on their phone, and they want to do basically all of their banking on their phone. And we want more and more people to be running their own nodes and Lightning nodes if they want to be, you know, transacting on the Lightning network. And again, this doesn't require an app to be listed in the App Store and be approved by Apple or Google or whoever. Those two companies have a significant stranglehold on people's access to certain software, and you know, they can be make or break for many apps, right? If you don't get listed, if you don't perform well in these app stores, you're mostly for many of these things, you can be completely irrelevant. Now, of course, Bitcoin doesn't have a central marketing team. You know, a lot of these apps are run, you know, for wallets and for light nodes, you know, like Fully Noded or Breeze. They might be on the App Store. They might be on, you know, like a test flight program or something like this. They are very much within walled gardens of Apple and Google. And this technology that Ben, and I assume maybe he's had some help, has created, I think is revolutionary because it bypasses these app stores. And thanks to I think it's pronounced Kaye. But I don't know if he's Spanish, but he's a European Bitcoin physicist. Really, he's developing some really cool stuff. In fact, I think he got a grant from I can't even think what now, but he created something called Cashew, which is like a Fedimint type. Yeah. Anyway, cool. Yeah, some people building some cool stuff in the kind of world of Lightning, which itself is its own rabbit hole. But I think, yeah, building some tools that really are going to make Bitcoin more accessible and less ruggable.
Absolutely. And by the way, thank you for sharing that. I thought that I think that's very cool. We need to get Ben the Carman on the show to talk to us more about this, because as you were explaining it, I just had a whole bunch of questions. Okay, so just a couple of points on this. So I used to test apps in test flight for the in my past life in the products that I used to troubleshoot for a living, and I also used to do for fellow computer geeks out there that know how to do this, I used to do side loads with the APKs, which is essentially the file types that the Google Play Store uses. So I can 100% confirm the walled garden that is created by these two manufacturers. Google, far less intrusive than Apple, okay? But nonetheless, still a walled garden, okay? So this is huge. Now, I hate to be the person that brings this up, but we wouldn't be Bitcoiners if we didn't, right? Every single one of us is more or less aware of the power of our smartphones. I think that more or less we are aware, that it has a CPU, that it has a certain amount of RAM, a certain amount of hard drive space, right? Which is the amount of data that you could store on your phone. So look, I'm sure that this is, even though it's a full Lightning node, I don't see that it has the entire, I don't think that it has the entire blockchain on it. So, and I'm not even sure that I'm assuming that they maybe used some type of a pruned node approach. So this is why we would want to get Ben the Carman on the show to explain the background. So I do have we wouldn't be Bitcoiners if we didn't mention the centralization, right? Like that idea, because there has been that discussion heavily about Lightning and the centralization of Lightning above Bitcoin. But for the most part, a lot of us don't seem to care because the base layer has all the properties that we want it to have. And that's the most important thing to us. But to Walton's point, I do think that this is overall absolutely massive. Zoom out. Bitcoin is 14 years old. Zoom out. Lightning in 2018 was nowhere near this. You had to write scripts. You had to follow all kinds of instructions to get a Lightning node working. And Walton just showed a tweet about a Lightning node running in a browser on a phone.
Well, I think
so
also
this is massive.
There's different bits, right? Like PlebNet, you go look at the Lightning, the amount of Bitcoin on Lightning, and there's a hockey stick like bit where PlebNet was founded, and I do think that not anyone specifically in PlebNet, though there's many great people there that spent a lot of time helping out. KP, Raj come to mind, but like the social communities to help with learning about functional technology and maintaining essentially a server is, someone's going to kill me about that because it's right, it's not, it's like it's your own server, right? Anyway, like the point is that there are these catalysts for driving adoption. I think a social educational community that was purely grassroots was one of those catalysts, and I think this is going to be another significant catalyst to the Lightning adoption curve.
Yeah, very well said, and I totally agree with you. All right. Well, look, thank you very much. That was some great Hopium, right? So we did a good mix right there, people. We had some good Hopium during the numbers, then everybody cries during the Shitcoin Corner. And look, we wrap it up with the Hopium, and now we are going to move on to the update we were talking about. That's right. I don't know if you guys remember, but every month we're doing a little segment on BtcPayServer so that we can talk about their updates. And guess what? They had a major release this month. That's right. 1.7.0 was actually released today, actually just a few hours ago. Anyways, for the people who don't know, BtcPayServer is a merchant tool to help people accept Bitcoin and Lightning payments. But did you also know that you can use it as your wallet? That's right. You could install BtcPayServer and you can use that as your own full node and as your wallet. Anyways, let's dive into what we had for the updates today, Walton. I spoke to one of their devs, and they're really excited about one of these features that we're going to talk about. I mean, obviously they're very excited about all the features, but this is like one of the main ones that they're excited about. So here we go. 1.7.0. people, new features, and this is the big one. New version of the checkout as an opt-in feature. So for the people that are using this as a merchant tool, right? A lot of times as Bitcoiners, we don't want to be forced into something by default. Okay, we want to be able to know that we can opt in to features if we so choose. So the new checkout feature is an opt-in option. So shout out to Dennis Riemann and Destruct. That's right, fellow Bitcoiner. Destruct's a good dude. I've known him for a while. Shout out to you, bud, for working on this project. I love it. Shout out to all the devs that are working on this. Okay, anyways, I'm just focusing on this one thing. So next, we've got the request customer data with forms for email and shipping address. They fixed some server settings to add customization options to the instance logo, branding options, store rate configs. That's right, for your merchant tools. Get lightning invoices, create payment request invoices, allow marking payout status and payment proofs. If people do not see how this is building out the ecosystem from the merchant adoption side, you are blind. Anyways, wallet objects, and this one here I singled out myself because I think that this is very important. Add the crowdfund app create endpoint. Okay, so if I understand this correctly, they're preparing BtcPayServer to handle crowdfunding types of behavior and feature sets. So this is going to be huge, right? Imagine not having to go to a central location for your crowdfunding. Imagine being able to literally set up your own crowdfunding servers. Anyways. Moving on, guys. They've got.
What I love, Phil,
yeah,
is that here you see BtcPayServer reminding everyone that bugs are to be fixed, not eaten. That's right, guys. Bugs are to be fixed, not eaten.
Go pound sand, World Economic Forum. If you are running BtcPayServer, you need to upgrade to 1.70 so you can get your latest fixes and get your latest feature set. You know what? BtcPayServer makes me bullish on Bitcoin. And fuck shitcoins. I had to take that, Walton. It feels so good to say it. I really like that you brought that. Yeah, it feels so good to say it. Anyways,
I lost my voice shouting it too much one day in Miami. Like,
hey,
it was worth
proof
it.
of work, my friend. Proof of work. It's okay. It was that. That's all that was, my dude. POW. So guys, that was our show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on our audio only platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. We also upload to Rumble, and if you decide you want to stream us sats, you can do it through fountain.fm using Breeze. Walton, any final thoughts for the listeners before we sign off?
Yeah, just a thank you to all the crazy people that came to my 8-hour space on Thanksgiving. It was a monster. It was wild. We had a lot of fun. We had some good. There was some good fights there. People following Yellow's second rule of the bear market. Make sure you're following the other two. Stack away and build. Thanks, guys.
And thank you for reminding me. Don't forget to check out the Bitcoin Council of Autism on Spaces. Walton hosts these awesome spaces every week. Don't forget to check them out. Follow PlebUnderground on Twitter, and we retweet those every time he puts them out. Guys, we will catch you all next week.